All right. Good morning, everyone. Dan here from tradingology.com and the trading room for April 15th. I made a reference earlier this week. This would normally be tax day, but not this year. You got till May 17th this year. So no big rushes going on. Taxes aren't due for another month. So we can calm down and we'll see if they'll collect. As always, we do have Dave joining us from the Strong Market team that we're working tighter with every day. So welcome, Dave. Good to see you on this fine Thursday.
Yeah, good morning, Dan.
Got some interesting stuff happening already. Obviously, we got a couple things we definitely want to alert you on that just crossed a threshold that it hasn't for a while. But take a brief look. Retail sales are exploding, so apparently people are buying stuff, stimulus checks, spending heavily. So the market is very happy today. Everybody's up because another thing that we always look at on Thursdays. This is the first for a while too. Our unemployment claims. Where is it hiding in my list here? They got a lot of things going on Thursday today. There we go. Predicting 703. It came out at 576 actually. Still 576,000 new people.
Right.
That is the lowest it's been in a long time. So they are all about that right now. Headlines on Bloomberg. Lowest since March of 2020.
Yeah. Wow.
It's still over 500,000 people. I mean, I get it. I see where they're coming from and I like their sentiment, but that's still over 500,000 people.
Yeah. So, I mean, when I try to digest this data, I'm looking back and seeing where we're kind of going here. And, if the good news is already baked into the market, it seems like that way since we dropped in March of 2020, the market's up, what, gosh, 70% or something like that. I mean, it's just an absolutely incredible amount of gains that we've had in the indexes. What's left?
Yeah.
What is there left to actually, look forward to? I suppose that everybody's kind of thinking, well, everybody's going to get back together, so there's more positive news about, relationships and family getting together and that kind of stuff. So I think it's just sentiment, just basic sentiment. That's why we're up 270 points on the futures.
Yeah, the Dow itself, cash index is up 280, just about to hit right now. There it is, 280 on the nose.
Just over 34,000, yeah.
Yeah, you see all three bubbles at the same time. The trifecta, all-time highs on this SPX, NDX, and Dow Jones.
The NDX just hit 14,000, so that's kind of a big round number, right?
Yep, it took a dive after it hit it 2 days ago. We'll see if it holds stronger this time. We do have yesterday, or a few days ago, it looks like that was on the 12th. We had some bearish hurting, but there's been no hurting of any kind on the NDX, not bearish or bullish.
Yeah, that's kind of weird. So it's like 50-50 bulls and bears. There's nobody's pushing that ball over the goal line yet.
And it's turned into the long tail on the on the NYSE here. We got 3 days in a row of the fifth column being filled in for SD on a daily basis. Interesting there. But the one thing I did want to definitely call out, we've been watching for a while, and it's happening right now. We are across 25 on the SPY VIX. So keep an eye on that. We are definitely, warning bells are going off, so use caution. If no one's seen this before, I will expand it out. Most people have seen it, but the last time we crossed over at 25 was January of last year, which was the warning bells before things hit in March. Then they used March as the excuse. Previous before that was in December of 2018, or excuse me, 2017. We started crossing those lines. Then we had the big drops in early 2018. So we are about to reach that threshold one more time. Will it hold true? We will see. But just letting you guys know that we have broken that 25 at this point today. So be on alert.
And that indicator is really for kind of long term. It also has trading implications if you're a shorter term or a swing trader. But for the long term investor who wants to try to avoid those, 10, 20, 30% drawdowns, it's kind of an important metric to keep an eye on.
Yep. Yeah, definitely not for day trading, but just so you know, if these are protect your portfolio. And since it's brand new, I might as well pull up a graph of Coin that's hit IPO yesterday.
Yep.
Opened at 380, rocketed up to 430, almost 429 and 54 cents, and then sold right off for a low of 310 on the day and closed at 330ish, and that's where we are right now.
Yeah. Kathy Woods from ARK Investment made a substantial, I think it's $750 million investment in coin yesterday. And she's quite public about who she invests in. It's not like the old days where you kind of keep everything quiet. Today with social media, everybody tells you, what you're investing in. And she put $750 million into coin yesterday. Interestingly enough, and I'm not sure if this is the case because it is they didn't go the traditional IPO route. They actually did I forgot the name of it now. It's right at my tongue. It's not a private placement, but it's like help me out here.
I'm trying to think of it. I don't know off the top of my head.
It's not a regular IPO. In other words, they didn't do the roadshow. They didn't have to share their financials with the institutions. It's not a private IPO.
More of a private one, or?
Yeah, it's one of those IPOs where you don't have to. I don't know. Anyway, it's one that they don't have to do a lot of disclosures for before they actually go public, and they don't have an underwriter, so they did it pretty much all themselves. And I'm not sure the traditional IPO. My point is the traditional IPO has a lockup period for insiders. And I didn't see any information about whether or not they had a lockup period for Coinbase or not. Traditionally, these kind of private IPOs or whatever we're going to call this don't have a lockup period. The only one that I know of is Planetair. Planetair had a lockup period for their IPO. That means insiders could not sell it during the first 120 days. I'm not sure if Coinbase does. My suspicion is that investors could sell it on the first day because we got up to 430 there and we started selling off. So I wonder if some of the early investors started selling some of their shares, and that's why we're down a little bit.
Yeah, I just see things about book building and different types that they quickly reference on fixed prices, book building issues, process share allotment. I tried to quickly do a search for types of IPOs for you there.
Yeah.
Decision funding, application, let's see. That's okay. We'll find it. Good morning, Andre. I see you did join us, so good to see you here. But yeah, I was kind of looking at that exactly because that's what it looks like. Like, hey, let's get in and drive the price up and then sell it right away. But it's very early, so we'll see. It's been less than 24 hours trading, so we'll give it some time, see what it does.
Yeah, most of these types of IPOs, whatever we're calling this thing, do not have a lockup period, so insiders can start to sell it.
Yeah, they're not going to be in there and not want to be able to take advantage. That's for sure. So we got those going on. Let's see what our futures are doing back here again.
Oh, it's called it's a direct listing.
Okay, there you go.
Not a private list. It's a direct listing.
Mystery solved.
Yep.
So apparently the Russell 2000 isn't happy though, because that's actually negative. So riddle me that. Everybody else is happy. The lowest unemployment claims across the board, but small businesses are not doing good still. And I did see somewhere, not directly related to small businesses, but just a note on business in general. I've seen forecasts of.
What did you not feel?
Oops, sorry. I got an article that showed that Coinbase insiders are actually able to sell, so that's probably why it dipped the first day.
Gotcha. Yeah, I've seen some forecasts on tens, if not hundreds of thousands of more businesses to close in the next year or two. It's like, yeah, things are still not good for businesses with their balance sheets and whatnot. We are, the SPY just rocketed up. Interesting. And it hit that resistance level and bam. I always take notice when suddenly there's charts that are going off my screens, even though I try to keep them dialed in. That's not usually a clue. A lot of times they're falling down to the bottom, and I know things are falling apart. So the SPY just tricked me to the upside there.
I there's just it just has a very strange kind of eerie feeling about the market, especially with the internals. The internals are not doing well. I mean, we actually the up down volume is negative. We had the issues open up about plus 1700, and we're at 444 now. So, it's just odd.
Yeah, that
I mean,
volume is the one, like you say. That's
yeah,
crazy.
yeah, the volume has been so lackluster. I mean, we've made note over the last couple of months of how weak the internals have been, and it just continues even though it's making new highs, and that's not a good sign. On a technical basis, making a new high on lower levels of volume is typically not a good sign for the market, that a potential reversal or at least a pause in this rally to consolidate these gains is in order.
Yeah, we look at the last all of April, we've been lower AVS across the board, and we're dropping down almost below 1,000 here. We're getting to 1,100. So
yeah, and it's not even summer. Typically, those kind of levels in the AVS is typical during the summer when everybody, traders are taking vacations. Not now, not in April. Yeah.
and volatility is creeping up. We're getting close to 100 here. It broke 100 on the NASDAQ side. So we'll see if the bears step in or not. Today they're not. We'll see. At least not yet.
Well,
it's early.
Yeah, it's still early, but I would suggest that bears are stepping in a little bit because we've got the up down volume there on a negative basis, and we also have a pretty big drop in the advanced decline line. So the number of advancers over decliners. So I think sellers are stepping in, but not in mass. As there's pockets of selling going on already, especially with MT vol, at 98% and 100 over 100 on the Nasdaq there.
I'll tell you one thing here too. We called this out in the notes section. Price anomaly was 117 on the NASDAQ, and look at what it did this morning. We're up 188 right now. So it broke that 117. So that price anomaly once again held true.
Yeah.
That was about the only thing that was bullish looking, was that price anomaly. Everything else is pretty bearish across here. So, but as we try not to influence any emotion and just read it. That's why I literally came up with, we got a bullish symbol here. We got bearish inclination. So we'll just put them all out there. We have the buy sell. This went to a -0, which I always like because there's positive and negative zeros when you get into technicals. So that is downside. The LT signal is definitely trending down. Swing signals down. The only thing it's missing, as we just mentioned, is bearish hurting.
Right.
So that was the one bullish artifact or portion of the spreadsheet did hold true. So it is important to just literally read it as data. Can't argue with that. You can't argue with data.
Yep, we got to, it helps understanding how those numbers, are being read. You have to take them at face value. So when you have the price anomaly at 117, that means we're typically, especially if we were down yesterday, that price anomaly means at 117 that we're probably going to go up today. And right now we're up 189 on the NASDAQ futures.
Did our friend Jay Powell just talk about rates or something? The 30-year bond is down almost 4% right now.
So is the 10-year.
Yeah, the 10-year is taking a big dive as well. We'll pull that over here.
I'm not sure. That's part of the deflationary scenario, right? We had this whole idea that we're going to go into an inflationary scenario. We had the CPI Tuesday at 2.6%, and now we've got interest rates now. Wait a minute, and this is a big move. 4% on the 30-year, 4.3% on the 10-year. Wow. And we hit that resistance line on that 10-year, and we started turning down from it. That's deflationary. Every time we get lower rates, it's deflationary.
That's the only thing they got too, is that long end, the 10 and the 30-year.
Yeah, I mean, geez, if those continue to go higher, that's the worst thing that can happen. Now, Powell was on 60 Minutes on Sunday. I don't know if you saw part of his interview or not.
I've only heard about it. I have not had a chance to catch a recording yet. And we had mentioned this week was like the full FOMC parade again, right? Where'd my calendar go? I think there's multiple people speaking again today,
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, there's a lot of people out there talking.
which just leads to why are they having to talk so much? Yeah, Thursday, what do we got here? Yeah, Bostic, Daly, he's talking to, we got two members speaking later today.
Yeah,
What they're speaking about, we'll find out.
yeah.
But yeah,
So I
yesterday
don't,
was, yeah.
yeah, so we had a temporary flare of inflation, but boy, oh boy, that 10-year hitting that resistance line and then turning down is and down pretty big right now is kind of bearish for the yield. We probably, I don't know what a good target would be, but could be back down to 1% or so. Here's another thing too is, I mean, if interest rates go up, right, it's going to kill the housing market. They don't want anything to get killed. Nobody's borrowing though. Home sales have actually dropped off a little bit, although prices are higher. But when the yields go down, it means that they want to spur borrowing because there isn't really a lot of borrowing going on right now. And that's the only way to boost the economy. It's one of the tools they have.
Yep. That's the one of the, yeah, they like to use that lever quite often.
Yeah.
The other one that we do see, this one's got, I got a lot of mess on this one. We'll see if I bring it over for you. Since you guys know I love fibs, because I am Mr. Fib, as
That's
Dave's
right.
calling me now.
I call you Mr. Fib now.
Look at our, let me zoom this one in. Or look at our commodities index today. Remember we found that channel earlier?
Yep.
We drew that in. It's
Well, it is moving
2.5% up right now in that channel. So commodities are on the move. So that's one thing to keep your eye on as well. This one, we got all of them. So yeah, Dixie's starting to turn green. Dixie's flat right now on the day, right at 0%, negative 0 point. There it is, literally zero.
Yeah.
And we've had support, which Dave and I have talked about. I told him, hey, it's also a fib level that we got support right here at the 382. That's holding things up. Will we turn back around and come back up? Good possibility. So we're watching that. So keep those in mind. Yeah, the government, there's that 30-year. So the 30-year did break out. Yeah, will it go all the way back down to this trend line and bounce around 2%? We'll see. A lot of times when they break through and they find that it becomes support and it rockets back up. But nothing's a rocket in this part, but is, you know what I mean, where that could the top side of this could be support for us. So that may be a target right around 2-ish, 2.1.
Yeah, if we break down back, I mean, that could be the support level that we come back down and touch, especially after a breakout, it comes back down and touches that long-term trend line. If it's a valid breakout, it'll continue higher from there. If it doesn't, if it breaks down through that and closes below that, that's very bearish. It's going to go all the way down to the lower trend line.
Yeah, that's where we go down to my old target of a 0.5% down here, which would be
wow. And that 0.5% was in March of 2020 at the bottom of the market when we crashed. If it goes back down there, wow.
Yeah, that one I see. This one, the yield came down to.
Oh, it's 7.7, man. Yep. Where are you getting the 0.5% then?
Oh, that was just my super warning alarm bell to go off. If we broke that 0.5%, it was definitely a signal for me to take action of some sort.
Gotcha.
Because it doesn't get much worse than that at that point.
Yeah, 0.5% on a 30-year.
That's a signal for me to buy every single type of property I can.
Yeah.
Because there's zero interest rates on it.
Yeah. Yeah, the interest rate in France right now, my wife has a friend in France that she talks to regularly. It's 0.01%.
Wow.
On a long-term mortgage. 0.01%.
Maybe I should start to get some French houses.
If you,
Gonna be an
you
international.
get a
real
loan
estate
from a French bank, yeah.
investor. I suddenly need to be dual citizenship with France.
Nah, not really. You can buy property in just about any country. Although it's interesting though that a lot of countries. I mean, if you're a foreigner and you don't have a banking relationship there, you're not going to get a loan. You got to pay cash.
True.
But there's a number of countries that they have no long-term mortgages at all. They have no mortgage, zero mortgages. Nobody's borrowing money to buy their houses. They're all paying cash for them. And their economies are relatively stable, at least in the housing area. They may have other problems, but when they do have if there's a worldwide depression, they're going to be in a lot better shape than we are.
Imagine that an economy that's not based on debt completely.
Yeah. Weird, huh? It's like the Twilight Zone.
The one last piece I should mention before we wrap up here is I do have a target. I don't have my screen on it right now, so I can't show you it. But 4211, I think I let you guys know in the channels. But on the MES or the ES, that is a target right now based on daily charts of a potential turnaround where we could see a reversal from 4211. So keep your eye on that.
Yeah, I'm very disappointed. My 33911 was taken out. I had 911 that was the all-time high in the Dow Cash Index yesterday. 911. Boy, somebody call 911. It's an emergency. No, not yesterday.
Exactly. 4211 and a quarter. That's the exact number I'm looking at. So mark that down. We'll see if it holds true or if I'm crazy.
I will.
I'm going off of data. That's all I'm using. With that, Andre, appreciate you coming out and joining us. We'll probably wrap up a few minutes early. I got a 10 o'clock I'm going to get to around here. So everybody have a fantastic weekend. If you like this, if you got value, go ahead and hit that subscribe and like button. We'd love to see it for our YouTube followers. We're getting more and more. So appreciate you guys joining us. We do as much as we can for you and all of our members. We put together as much as we can. So
absolutely.
We appreciate you guys. And Dave, you have yourself a fantastic weekend. We will see you in the Slack channel, sir.
You too, Dan. Have a great weekend, everybody. And pay attention to that SPY VIX signal.
You
For
got it.
long-term investors, that's a good one. Never
Definitely.
fails.
All right. Take care.